Humanizing healthcare. Dr. Karen, thanks for stopping by. It really is an important thing for burnout because if we don't humanize healthcare, people are going to get burned out very easily, especially with the shortage of certain healthcare professionals, especially less doctors are in the field now and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, today we've become so specialized and we work in such silos, and it's become a business. And we have this production, get everybody through faster, see more patients. And what happens is we sacrifice the reason we went into healthcare, which is to really build deep relationships with patients and colleagues in order to provide the best care possible. And in order to do that, you really have to communicate and have compassion for other people's positions and perspectives because we all have different needs and desires.
All right, so let's kind of just jump right on board with this in so many aspects. When you think about this, how do we humanize healthcare? What do you think's the first goal? Is it so you're not just talking the doctor, you're talking almost everyone in the healthcare industry, from the beginning person that meets them, the communication back and forth, everything, right?
Right. I work a lot with physicians because my training obviously is as a physician as well. But what I realize is it starts right at the beginning. You have to get to the healthcare institution. You have to park. You have to meet the person that, as you walk in the door, who confronts you. Can you get an appointment? How long do you have to wait? Everything adds up to how calm you are when you finally meet the physician and get your treatment. And the whole experience needs to be more compassionate, more quality driven, more communication, so that you don't feel like you're repeating yourself, not because of safety requirements, but you're repeating yourself because people aren't listening.
Right. And when people aren't listening, it's not the best thing. So what steps should physicians do to try to humanize healthcare more?
Well, I think the most important thing is to be aware of yourself. So you need to really have some emotional intelligence, some ability to not only be self-aware, but self-accepting, go in, not with arrogance, but confident that you are going to do your best job and accept your responsibility to do the best that you can do in the given situation. And if you don't know the answer, that you're going to ask for help, ask your colleagues, make a referral, whatever. But it's that arrogance that sends people spinning. And that doesn't build a good relationship. And as soon as you don't have a good relationship or make assumptions for somebody and say, this is what you need, rather than asking them what they need, they're turned off, and they end up getting locked into something that's not right for them and
The
misdiagnosed.
arrogance. Interesting you talk about arrogance. Do you think it's just a complexity sometimes that some doctors have that really can turn off the patient?
I think that, the higher we go up in the hierarchy, the more arrogant we tend to default to, maybe. But I think there's lots of ways to pay attention to that. I think most people have very good intentions, and it's taking a look at what our impact is, being able to really genuinely apologize if we make an error. I think lawyers will tell you not to do that, but in my opinion, when you do that, you've got the other person on board. They're much more likely to not bring a lawsuit against you. And if they do, they will ask for a lower amount because they understand your human errors happen, but you've explained it to them, you've developed a relationship with them, and they know you've done your best. And that's really what it amounts to. Are you doing your best? Are you consulting with everyone, and making sure your whole team does the best? It's not just, for instance, if you're going into the operating room, it's not just the surgeon, it's the technicians, the nurses, everybody, the anesthesiologist, everyone involved that has to communicate and be on the same team at that moment, and not be afraid to speak up and avoid errors because they see something going on, because we're all busy looking at our own specific area, doing our surgery, hemodynamics for the anesthesiologist, the nurse getting the equipment ready and sterilizing it. And no shortcuts can happen. But if you see something that's going wrong, because you can't have your eyes everywhere, and it's usually the nurse that can see that, you have to listen and be willing to listen and say, what if they're right? Doesn't mean they are, but what if?
Right. And and if they are right,
Do
that's,
something about it.
yeah, definitely do something about it in so many ways. Now, with the physicians, sometimes how they treat the other people on staff is important too, because that's going to give the patient more confidence that they're going to receive the best care.
For sure. And I think that how we treat everyone on the team is a testimony to how we treat our patients as well. Because if your team sticks around with you for year after year and works with you, they know what you want, they know what to expect, they know how to, coordinate and collaborate the best, and they know how to do that for the patient because they know what the priorities are.
Right. And when those priorities are important in so many ways.
Absolutely. But the most important thing is that we all come from different backgrounds and cultures, both as the care providers and the care recipients. And we can't assume that somebody understands what we're saying or knows what we want them to do. We need to ask them, what is it you want? And we have to provide all the options, educate everyone, whether it's your team member or the patient and their family, provide the options, educate them, and what works best for you. Because what works best for you, Neil, might not work best for me. Obviously, we're not exactly the same age, although we're closer than some people. And we're different genders. We come from different cities, probably, all sorts of reasons why.
And that's so important. When the physicians, who do you work with? You said you work primarily with physicians. How do they work with you?
Well, I work with physicians individually. I can also work with nurses and anyone in between. I've worked with whole teams and departments, but really my best service is when I go into an organization and you kind of revamp the whole culture, because it's the culture that starts at the top with the leaders. And it's what do they bring and model for everyone else so that everyone's on board and everyone is accepting their accountability and their responsibility, because it's not ever one error, it's multiple errors. And it's usually in the communication and lack of compassion and not being willing to support each other. I don't need to one up you. I need to make you look good, because if I make you look good, you make me look good.
And that's the one, it's not a one up, make you look good. And that the better the patient, the better situation, and you're going to transform healthcare because of that.
Yeah. And when you get a good result with a patient and you treat a patient well so that they feel they've been respected and been treated with dignity, my goodness, they're your best referral service. I mean, in today's world of where we're unfortunately focused so much on business, I mean, and I don't mean you shouldn't think about budgets, because we all need to pay bills. But when you put that as your priority, what happens is we forget to take care of the people. When you don't take care of the people, they leave. They've got free choice. They can go somewhere else. Social media now allows them to put bad reviews instantaneously. So it behooves you to spend that time. Sometimes if you spend a little time up front, it may seem like you're wasting your time, but in the end, you save a lot more time.
And that time is something that's important to have the success you need to have.
Right. And the collaboration and the communication and the compassion and giving real minute-to-minute feedback and being present really helps with the burnout both from the patients and family caregivers' point of view and burnout from the staff's point of view. Because what happens is everyone starts seeing everyone as difficult. The administrators are breathing down your neck, so we see them as difficult. The patients see the family caregivers as difficult, and the family caregivers see the nurses and doctors as difficult. The nurses and doctors see each other as difficult. Even doctors within doctors see somebody from the other team. They won't come and consult and do it fast enough or whatever. we never stop pointing the finger at everyone else instead of taking our own responsibility.
All right. I know you're offering our listeners and viewers a special offer. Tell us about the offer.
Well, if they go on Talk with Doctor, and doctor is DR, not the whole word spelled out, drkaren.com, they can connect to me, and I'd be happy to share with them both a resource I have on how to advocate for yourself, how to have caring conversations, as well as, schedule an appointment to see what is their most pressing need, and, how I can give them some tidbits to get them on the road to better results, because it's
All
all
right.
about outcomes.
Thanks, Dr. Karen. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
All right.
Neil.
You're listening and watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back.